Hey there, sport. I've come back finally with the cigarettes. You want one? Come on. Take one while I tell you a story of why we are going from this to this. For some background information, I did not make this model, and I do want to ensure that all assets in this project are either made by me or at the very least human-made. So this has to go. Introduce Blender. This is the software that I'll be using to create my masterpiece. After going through multiple tutorials, I did create my first humanoid mesh, and it didn't really turn out so good.
I mean, it kind of looks like a human. He doesn't really look like he walks around too much, though. Pathetic.
I was feeling demoralized at this point. However, I stumbled across this video by CodeMonkey that really helped calm some of my nerves.
Oh, I really don't want to use assets in my game. I want to build everything myself from scratch. Using assets feels like cheating, and I don't want people angry at me calling my game an asset flip. I see that kind of comment every once in a while, especially in my asset highlight or my asset review videos. So if you're the kind of person who has that kind of thoughts, let me tell you that thought is probably causing more harm than good.
This is a really great video and I recommend you check it out. It will be linked in the description below. On itch.io, I found this humanoid model and got to work. I started by modifying some of the proportions and building some of the cosmetics. I figure we'll want to put some gloves, knee pads, and glasses on the model. I also made the hair and face its own model. This way I can continue practicing making these models and putting in a system where you can swap these parts out inside of the game in sort of a character creator sort of way. And that is it. Well, mostly it. There are still some obvious flaws, however, that's mostly in the texture image itself, so this should be easy to clean up. And to be honest, at this point, I'm pretty burnt out on Blender, so I imported my character and oh no. The animations I previously used were from Mixamo. That's fine. I should be able to just use that to rig the model and all will be good. Okay, well then, I guess I'll just have to recreate the animations using Godot. What's the worst that can happen?
Let's go ahead and add a keyframe for the left shoulder and up. Bro.
Oh brother. Yeah, so despite being burnt out of Blender, I'm back, baby. Would I have been okay using Mixamo animations? Yeah, probably. But there are no skate animations at all. So here goes nothing. Honestly, hats off to you animators out there, because this is crazy hard. I will say, I believe I may have been a bit too eagle-eyed when creating these, because I was hyper-analyzing parts of the character that the player won't even be able to see, but after a couple of days, I finally had my skate animation. I imported this and was very happy to see that it did in fact work. However, I was very unhappy to see during this point I had deleted my previous character, the one with the animation tree, and wanted to work on anything else at this point. But in order to do anything tech related, I needed to replace all of the animations that the player script currently calls for or comment them out. And I'm stubborn. And I didn't want to comment them all out. So I made single frame animations for all of them. Now, the next issue is that Godot doesn't really like it when each bone doesn't have a positioned keyframe. Although they look fine in Blender, if I don't have an arm pose in an animation, it'll use the position of the previous animation instead, so it causes a lot of interesting results. Yo, why is bro leaning like that? What the hell? So I went through and added all of those keyframes. This did end up taking a while, but it was very much so worth the effort. I still haven't put in all of the animations just yet, and I probably won't make that a part of the next major update video. However, you should see the progression through various future installments. By the way, in case no one told you, there's actually that big red subscribe button right underneath here that you can click so that you don't miss those future videos. I updated those awful sound effects by getting a couple SFX packs off of the Humble Bundle, and it sounds so much better. I also updated the VFX for the grinding using Godot's particle system. Now that I have my official character and know what it looks like, it'll be much easier to build the world having a cohesive art design. So I got rid of the tiny sparks and went for a more big and spherical look. Next, to give the world a much more cartoony feel, I added this shader. I achieved this by putting a quad mesh right in front of my camera and adding a shader material to it. The goal is to make everything look smooth while also having harsh, sketchy outlines. It's not currently perfect, but this is pretty much how I envision this looking in the end. The core issues right now are that the shader is picking up on some of the triangles on all models and adding lines where they shouldn't be, but I'm currently cleaning that up right now. But that's all I have for this week. Next week I have some pretty major gameplay updates. I want to add controller support as well as various other effects to make the shooting feel a lot more impactful. I also plan on updating all of the enemy types. That way there's a bigger variety, as well as having enemies that fit the gameplay a lot better than just a bunch of capsules with generic hitboxes. So if you want to see that next update, go ahead and subscribe. If you like this video, please give it a like. It really helps me out. If you disliked it, go ahead and call me a mean name in the comments. And until next time, thank you again for watching. Peace.